It's because she's cute. You can marry the man and get all of it in the end anyway. Like, help me get a dating site.
Oh gosh, Ma, you don't want to be on there. So she gets the choice of him being financially responsible or not.
I believe so. I mean, that's the way it is, isn't it?
Is that gender privilege? This is going to be interesting. So you don't know who JustPearlyThings is, I'm sure, right?
No.
Okay, so she's a very controversial figure within the manosphere and the red pill community. She has been spouted of saying things like women shouldn't vote and other very controversial statements. And
So we're going to put probably two people I don't like in one room.
we'll see. We'll see. You may like her. You may like her. But the thing is, I shouldn't have even told you that because I don't want her opinions to be her. We'll just hop into it.
But
Let me finish, bro.
But if you were truly religious,
dang.
like, you would have waited. And that's why it sounds like bullshit to men, because they're like, okay, well, where was this religion back when you were fucking Tyrone?
She's so forward, ain't she?
Yep, a little bit. I mean, again, it's not that I don't not like her. And it's not that, but she's going to have different opinions than me. She's going to have different opinions than all of us.
Sure.
But I'm not going to not like somebody because they have different ideas or beliefs. Just don't force them on me
Sure.
and we'll get along great.
But the least happy demographic of women is women over the ages of 45 that make between, I think it's like between $50,000 to like $70,000 per year and are single and childless. Like life gets
Are
pretty
they bothered
life gets,
about it though?
What?
Are they bothered about being
Yeah, they're the
childless?
least happy demographic. Like life gets pretty lonely after the age of 45. Like, right? I don't think as women we really understand how different the world treats us because we're pretty women, and because one day your looks are going to be gone, you're going to get no attention from men. Like 40 to no men are lining up to date 50-year-olds.
Okay, so this is an interesting topic. Let me explain a concept within the red pill manosphere philosophy, I guess. So at a certain point, the red pill teaching says a woman will hit the wall. They call it the wall, where at a certain point, the woman stops getting prettier, essentially. They hit a certain age,
Right.
and they just, the
Looks.
age takes a toll. And they say their age varies from 28 to 32, whatever, any arbitrary number it may be. But that's a concept that she's talking about, that she's referring to. I'm sure it was discussed at some point in this podcast. But I wanted to get your thoughts on how, as far as pretty privilege that she's talking about here, would you agree that there's a certain level of pretty privilege that most women? Obviously she's generalizing here, but obviously there's varying levels of beauty, if you will. But do you believe in such a concept as pretty privilege?
I believe that's out there for sure. For sure. I mean, just, and if these beautiful women use that to get in life what they want, I guess that's their prerogative. However, I like those beautiful people that I know that don't know they're beautiful, but they still get privilege. I mean, I see it happening, like my friend who I thought I got a great hotel rate at the hotel when we went traveling, and she got up early and went downstairs and talked to the dude at the front desk and ended up getting me a better rate. It was like, it's because she's cute. So she doesn't necessarily use her beauty. So yeah, but there is privilege. There is definitely privilege.
Do you believe in the concept of the wall, where there's a certain point where you stop getting prettier, if you will, and the privileges start to fade over time?
Oh, yeah. Everybody loses their looks as they get older. And that's why you would hope that in life you would find somebody that is more than just good looks, that you have a deeper emotional connection with somebody, because your looks are going to fade. Everything is gonna start sagging eventually.
So the predominant way of thinking within the manosphere is that women start their life with this privilege, and they essentially live the first portion of their life on easy mode, comparatively so. And as they get older and this pretty privilege starts to fade and they hit what they call the wall, that privilege starts fading. Whereas men, they start at nothing and can continue to be nothing if they do nothing with their lives and they're not ambitious. But for those high value men that she's been talking about, their value goes up over time and they don't hit what is called the wall. That's what they argue. They say that men increase in SMV, which is sexual marketplace value. A lot of these terminologies here, I know, but it's essentially how hot, how desirable, how high value you are. And they say, yeah, the men's value increases over time, whereas the woman's decreases over time. Thoughts on this?
And I agree, but I guess in the back of my head, what I'm looking at is when you say the man doesn't hit a wall, that's because there's probably a better chance, because he is that high value man, that a woman can get more out of him than the normal man. If he's got all that everything else going for him, then a man, if he's 30 and fit and has a good job and can treat you well and you can do everything because his income has allowed you to take trips and do that and do that. And at 40, he's still making that money. And you would just hope that his relationship that he was in was more intense on everything else. But he's not going to hit a wall because chances are he's going to keep that value that way. You can overlook somebody's cheating on you or somebody's being mean or negative to you, or even your friends or your family, if you are getting everything from him that you desire and that you want.
Okay. So would you agree that generally women would be willing to be with a higher value man, even if he's wants to cheat, be with other women, maybe have a harem of women, as long as you're his woman? Is that something that you would agree most women would agree to?
I would say there is that woman out there for sure. I mean, I couldn't deal with a man cheating, period. Even if I had everything I wanted. And like she said earlier, you can marry the man and get all of it in the end anyway.
Sure. So let's say in a hypothetical scenario, there's a very wealthy, successful man that treats you well, gives you everything you want, has a great life, can treat you incredibly well with everything, but he wants to have girlfriends on the side. You wouldn't be okay with that?
Probably not.
Fair enough.
Probably
okay.
not.
Even if you had everything taken care of, your entire family's forever taken care of, generational wealth.
If we were married, yeah, I guess I can't say for sure. No, absolutely not. But in my heart of hearts, I couldn't deal knowing that this man, even though he treats me like gold and puts me on a pedestal and the world revolves around me, but Tuesday nights he's with Judy. And this Friday night, I'll probably be gone all weekend. Knowing that he's going to be with another woman, no, I don't think that I could emotionally take it. And I also don't think that I could take the fact of possibly getting something that I physically, like, sexually, a SD, what do they call it? STI, STD, STDs.
Sure.
So, no, my heart would ache knowing that the man that I loved was with somebody else. So maybe, no, I don't think I could.
Okay. That's one of the things that she argues here, and one of the things that she uses to support, and a lot of people will use the data to support it, is the data from online dating apps. It shows that 80% of the women on dating apps are dating less than 20% of the men on there. So essentially that means that you have a huge portion of women that are dating a small subsect of men, the best of the best. Because they have the option, they can swipe right on whatever they want.
Right. Funny that you brought that up though, son, because I have never been on a dating site. Just because of my computer knowledge is not good enough for me to not be frightened that I'll swipe the wrong way, or so I might throw that at you, like help me get a dating site.
Oh gosh, Ma, you don't want to be on there.
Okay, never mind.
It's
just a thought.
No, you can look at any number of videos from women's perspective, and they all agree on the dating apps. It's nothing but.
How about for my age, though?
Yeah.
I mean,
they say the older the worse it gets. But I mean, it's worth a shot. I guess
I just kind of figure we could maybe do this together and help me get it set up and see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Oh gosh.
Surprise!
Yeah, let's keep rolling here.
What did women really go through?
Can I just ask you that this?
Okay.
What do you mean?
Like,
Okay.
what do we
Just-
go through?
What do you mean? What have we gone through? I don't know.
It's a question.
It's a question. If
You
you're
said
gonna-
women
if
have
you're
gone through
gonna
this,
Do
this,
you
and
think
this.
women
make
are
it-
oppressed?
No. Not in,
Oh,
not
okay.
in the
So that's
slightest.
just straight off a completely different.
Like, explain how women are oppressed.
How do you think they're not?
No, you're answering a question with a question.
Because history.
Okay,
Like you think go back
what
to
history?
I don't know how old you.
Are women impressed, Mom?
No. Well, no.
You can be honest. I'm not going to judge you or think.
Oh, I know. Again, it's your own character. I think there's it depends. No, it's just it's a character of a person. You're either gonna stand for shit or you're not gonna stand for shit. And I mean that in a lot of things. I mean that in your political views, your educational views, your financial views. You're either going to strive and do it, or you're going to be held back and not do it. I mean,
So you don't believe that women are oppressed simply because of the fact that they're women?
like maybe 20% of me does.
In what ways are you getting that 20%? Like what's making you feel like certain ways that women are oppressed? And I'm not going to give you any grief or anything either.
No, I know you're not.
Yeah.
I know you're not. I don't know. I would have to think about it. I just can't. I just think women don't have the same. I think if two college educated people walked in for one job and one was a man and one was a woman, they're going to give it to the man. And I think one of those things are because, I'm going to hire this college educated chick, and, next thing you know, she's going to get married, and then she's going to need time off, and heck, she may not come back. Where the man, he is going to, chances are, not take a leave of absence. He's not going to carry a baby. Now they have the Family Leave Act, so he has the right to take off 6 weeks once his child is born. And if he financially can do that, then that's great. But I think in that sense that they're going to choose the man over the woman. Simply for reasons like that. No? Agree or disagree?
No, you're absolutely right. But that is a situation that an employer would go through. And they would think that. But the question is that oppression, or is that just an employer being logical?
Well, I think it's not fair because...
But you yourself would agree that it makes sense for the employer to do that correctly, correct? Like logistically, from a long-term employment point of view, right? Like you want to develop employees that are going to stick with you and not be out for a year while they have a child, right? I mean, do you fault the employer for that?
Well, I think it should be based on more. I mean, I think I think it could even be the woman can be the higher of the choices, the better choice for your business. But since she'll probably go there one day, I'm gonna hire the man. So yeah, are they looking out for their own business? I don't think most businesses would survive without women though, but I don't know. I mean, women sometimes are, because they're a woman, they don't get things they should. And again, it's all how you were raised. You know, if you're raised where, you know, you're raising your daughters to be strong, independent women, and your sons to be strong, independent men, then, you know, they should be able to rule the world. No?
No, you're right. But we're talking about oppression based on gender. And I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, encourage your children and teach them to be, you know, all they can be. But as far as whether or not men have some sort of hidden advantage, because it's like you know, choosing a man to pick up a heavy box. You know, it's yeah, you're gonna do that. That just makes sense. Like if there's an elderly woman compared to a young man to do a physical activity, why would you choose the elderly woman? Like, it just makes sense. Oh, are elderly women oppressed? Are we going to choose, would we choose a child over an adult for a job that requires mathematics? Are children oppressed because of that? It's an awful example. I'm
Yes.
sorry, but you get what I'm going for here, right?
Yes. So I'm going to have to think more about it.
I mean, if you just look at it objectively, and taking out what you've been influenced by, what your personal feelings are saying, because you can look at it logically and say, the employer is making what he feels is the best decision for his company. And if that means that he's going to opt for a man instead of a woman who may or may not be leaving on pregnancy notice, I think it's because that if you go down that road, then it starts enforcing hires, because we need
We have
to,
that, and we have that already.
and I don't agree with that.
You know, you have to have a percentage.
And I don't agree with that. I think it should be based on qualifications.
Correct. Always it should be.
Then why are there enforcements on quotas? You know, they're doing that with movies now too. For I think it's the Oscars or something, Grammys or one of these whatever award shows. They have you have to meet a certain quota, not only in the film of having diversity hires, but also in the crew. Like, this is a slippery slope. And if we start trying to equal the playing field so that everybody has equal representation, then we're just dooming ourselves. We're dooming ourselves to mediocrity, if not absolute destruction. And we should have the most qualified individuals for every position of the rung. Not just positions of power. Every
it's
position
mandated.
of the rung.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 5 brothers, so when girls say things like men are trash, men are the problem, da 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 da, I'm like, okay, you can speak for yourself. Like, the men you pick are the problem. Because I have 5 really great brothers. I have a really great father, and so if you have an issue with men, like, that's a you problem, and don't put that on me.
I think that's a pretty valid point, and I also think that a lot of the people that have issues with men simply have not had a good one in their lives. Whether that's a father thing, a lack of a good father, a lack of father at all. I think a lot of the kill all X, whether it's men or women, is due to a lack of understanding good people in their lives. To show, hey, men can be good. Hey, women can be good. Hey, we need each other. And we just don't have enough of that in our life. We don't have enough encouragement to love the other people. It's so hostile. Men are trash. Like, there has been a war on the genders for so long. And I remember when we were young, we would kind of have just like a goofy little, boys drool, girls rule, all this. And it was fun back then. It was just, very playful, never serious. I never really took it serious thinking that men are better than women or vice
No.
versa. But it's taken on a whole new meaning, and it's gone to legitimate superiority of people on both sides. Because the term misogyny, if you look up the trending results on the word misogyny, it's skyrocketed in the search results because it's just such a buzzword. Do you know what misandry is? Misandry is the opposite of misogyny, where misogynists think that that men are better than women just on that reason. There's misandry where women think that they're better than men simply because they're women. And if you look at how much or how the lack of that, the prevalence of that, it blows me away that there's such little pointing out and analyzing all of the hypocrisy between people being called misogynist and people being called misandrous, because there's people thinking that they're better than the others. There's bigotry all over, and I'm just getting too much into
Yeah,
this.
it's a little.
Sorry.
It's a little much, but I agree. It's you can't label all genders or types of people based on your opinion.
Yeah, some minor example, some personal anecdote they may or may not have even experienced. They may be going off of some a story that they heard on the news, and that's a big issue. There's so much propaganda that's going on to influence people into thinking a certain way, and
to divide and conquer.
Oh, yeah.
Divide. I mean, let's make everything competitive.
it's all a war. Yeah,
Right.
If you're going to have sex with a woman, there is a chance that woman may get pregnant. Like,
So if you have
regardless-
sex with a guy, there's a chance you might get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on you.
So yeah,
not the guy.
so if you
Yeah,
if you
so-
get to choose not to be a mother, he should get to choose not to be a father. Equal. Equality.
Oh, that's a whole other subject. Then give the man the pill if he chooses not to have a child. If he doesn't want children, then let him use the birth control or be abstinent.
and that's yeah. I mean, I don't know if they would need the pill with the contraception for the condom.
Correct. That's why I said if you don't want to have, yeah, but I understand what she's saying. It should be a man's choice, also, along with a woman's.
So, I mean, we can dive into that before we wrap it up. As far as obviously, it should be a woman's choice on whether or not she gives up her child. Correct? Would you agree with this?
Yes.
And not the man's choice, not the father's choice. It's irrelevant. His thoughts.
Well, I can't. I'm too old to even think about that right now. And maybe too tired because I do think it's just the woman's choice. And I don't
And that's
think
okay,
our
yeah.
government should control that either. That's a whole new thing too.
So okay, so if it's the woman's choice to proceed forward with a child, should they have a child? She have a child with a man, and let's say he doesn't want to be a part of it. Should he have to support this child if she decides to continue with it?
I wouldn't want him to, but I mean, is he legally responsible? You would have to prove DNA. I mean, and that's a common thing now. But if he went out there and got her pregnant, then he's equally responsible whether he wants the child or not.
So she gets the choice of him being financially responsible or not.
I believe so. I mean, that's the way it is, isn't it?
Is that gender privilege? Thank you guys so much for watching.
Oh, you got me. You got me.
We'll have plenty more coming up. What are your thoughts on Just Pearly Things from this initial thoughts on her?
It's interesting. I'd like to definitely see more of her. Probably not a whole lot, but I would like to listen to one of her whole shows. But I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and you can agree with it or not agree with it. You know, if you don't like somebody, don't be around them. You don't like what somebody says, don't be around them.
I agree with that 100%. If that's the only thing that you have control over is what you subject yourself to. If you are constantly trying to modify the situations that you are putting yourself in, you're going to be stressed out and exhausted and overwhelmed. I get why they're like that. Now, it's suddenly dawning on me. They're exhausted and upset because they're constantly trying to modify the world around them and people around them. It all makes sense now. All right, guys, go ahead and drop us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Mom, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Much love, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
Y'all.